Portland Pilots are the 2016 West Coast Conference champions.
Sharp! In another dimension!
And it's gone! A walk-off two-run home run by Tate Budnick, and the Pilots win it.
The Portland Pilots win their first national championship in overtime.
Welcome to the Portside Pod, and joining us today is the University of Portland volleyball head coach, Megan Burton. Megan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Adam, for having me. What's up, guys?
So first question, you came to Portland as an assistant, then you get elevated to the head coaching position. I don't imagine with COVID and all this going on, this is what you thought your first year would be like.
It's been an adventure, yeah, for sure. But it just goes to show that it really matters who you surround yourself with. And I have amazing people a part of my program and UP community. So yeah, it's been an adventure, but I have great people to help me along the way.
And speaking of those great people, so when your season, you first found out it was going to be postponed to the spring, tell us what that was like to go through, and how does that shift your approach, both as a staff and as a team?
Yeah, gosh, I have to think back all the way till March. It's been a few months when we first got that news. I think immediately, my concern was just for the welfare of our student athletes and what was best for them. And first and foremost, it was their health and safety. And so it definitely was heartbreaking that beach season got pretty much completely, it just got canceled. And then indoor training as well. But at the end of the day, I wanted to make sure the student athletes were in a safe place. And that was a no-brainer to me to send them home to be with their families, to make sure as we're still navigating a very unknown environment, that they're in a safe place. So I think immediately that's where it shifted. It was definitely away from a training mindset and more to how do we help these student athletes navigate such a crazy unknown world, and first and foremost, keep them safe. So that's where our mindset has been as a staff. We definitely came back anticipating that we would be ready to go for fall, but it's never a dull moment. You got to be able to think on your feet and make adjustments and be flexible. And so that's what we do every day. We get the news that we have, and then we try and do our best with what we have.
I forgot about beach season getting canceled. That feels like it was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
What
5
happened?
months, 5 years.
Unbelievable. So speaking of your team, with the season being pushed back to the spring, how do you keep them focused? What are you guys doing right now?
Yeah, we've kind of, we've actually gone through some phases. So in the spring, we definitely were doing a lot of Zoom chats just to stay connected. We went through a mental skills program called Max Potential Mindset. It was amazing. It was a workbook that essentially walked us through a lot of off-the-court mental skills, because at that point, that was pretty much the only contact we could have with them was through Zoom. And so a lot of individual strength building, a lot of team building, but from afar. And then we came back in phases to campus this summer, and they were able to, again, test, go through quarantine, and once they were cleared through that process, start back a return to play phase. And initially that was a focus on strength conditioning. A lot of our players hadn't really been in a weight room for a few months. And so we wanted to make sure their bodies were in a place that they could go out and compete if we were going to have a fall season. So it was really about this return to play and focusing on getting their bodies back into a Division I competitive shape. And then from there, we came back in August 9th, we had a report date. The girls were all in, focused, ready to go. And we were limited on what we could do in the court. It was very much individual, one ball, one coach. That's how we started out, as most of the sports did when they returned to practice. And then we were able to ramp it up to small group work. Right now we have about maximum, we have 3 players on one side of the court. And I think the good thing about volleyball is once you add at least one more player, the amount of work you can do grows exponentially. So while we're not playing competitive 6-on-6, we are still able to do quite a bit with the 3 players on one side of the court plus coaches. So it's been a shift in mindset. You know, we're practicing on controlling what we can control and just being grateful for any opportunity that we have to either be together in the weight room, be together in the gym, or be together on Zoom. And so we're doing what we can with what we have right now.
I like that. Sounds like a very positive approach. We go online for this question from Brian, and actually it's a two-part question. Coach Burton, you lost a few players from last season. What have you seen from the newcomers as far as stepping in and taking over those roles? And the second part, what strides have the returners made coming into the fall?
Yeah, Brian, shout out to Brian. We miss you. Well, first off, I just have to say we had 3 amazing seniors last year, and their shoes were going to be hard to fill regardless. You know, Shayla Heft, all-conference player, Katie Barker, all-conference middle, and Emma Scanlon, amazing defensive specialist. So we lost 3 outstanding players from last season. We bring in five players I'm really excited about, and for a lot of them, their club seasons also got cut short back in March, and so we really didn't have a chance to see them play for probably close to 6 months until they came back and joined our gym. And it's been a pleasant surprise, that's what I'll say. They showed up ready to go. They showed up in shape. They showed up ready to work hard with an open mindset, ready to learn. And they've just been a true blessing. They've been integrated into our family by our older players, and they're just soaking it all in. So I think they have some big roles to fill, some big shoes to fill, but I know they're up for the task and up for the challenge. So, you know, specifically, I guess I'll touch on them. I've got Mia Wesley. She's an outside hitter from Orem, Utah. I got Ryan Gregg right down the street from Corvallis, Oregon. She's joined by her club teammate, Nevaeh Bray, who's also from Corvallis. Ryan, is outside, and Nevaeh is the middle. I've got Chelsea Harmon from up the road from, I'm going to totally mispronounce her town, Puyallup, Washington.
Yeah.
Yes. And then we have Gianna Lawson, who's a opposite middle, and she joins us from Arizona. So a great group of young women. They've done a fabulous job of integrating in this crazy new normal, and a lot of credit is due to our upperclassmen and our returners and how they've really brought them on board.
And let's talk about goals, both for this season and beyond. As a first-year head coach, what are you hoping to accomplish this year? And then overall as a program, what are you hoping? What are some of the goals you're setting for the program?
Yeah. So I think, you know, initially I had some pretty lofty goals coming into this season, pre-COVID and pre-fall season being postponed to spring. I want the young women, to really buy into this concept of what it means to be a part of this volleyball family. And we've spent the last few months really talking about our team culture. And the now seniors have spent 4 years really diving into that. And they've laid a great foundation for us to work off of. So extremely grateful for all the work that the seniors have put in. And just growing and building on top of that foundation, making sure that this is a place where we work hard, where we have each other's backs, where we strive for excellence in the classroom, in the community, and on the volleyball court. That's extremely important to me, that we're not just here to play volleyball, but we're here to grow as young women. And that is so much a part of my message. That's so much embedded in UP's message. And so really just building off of that, make sure our culture and our family is something that when the seniors leave, they have an amazing legacy and something to be proud of, which they've put a lot of work into.
I like it. We go back online for our next question. This one is from Casey, and actually Brian had a pretty similar question as well. So the team obviously has a connection to Hawaii with a few coaches from Hawaii and a player. What is that connection between Hawaii and Portland like?
Oh, it's outstanding. Great question, Casey and Brian. I love the connection between Portland and Hawaii. It was something that drew me here when I was interviewing for the assistant role. It's something that kept me here when I wanted to pursue the head coach opening. And I think there's a few phases. Oregon has a great Hawaiian community. All of the schools, a lot of the schools in Oregon have a huge Hawaiian community from students that come from high school and they want to pursue a higher education at one of the universities here in the state. Portland, University of Portland specifically, I think they recruit a lot from high schools in Hawaii, and so that has made it a lot, I guess the recruiting process for me as a volleyball coach a little bit smoother, because the university already has that Hawaiian community built into the university. Specifically, as far as volleyball and how we're recruiting, I'm lucky enough to have 2 coaches on my staff from the islands. I have Evan Lee, who's my recruiting coordinator, who's from Oahu, and then I have Dylan Hamilton, who's my head beach coach and indoor assistant coach, and he's from Maui. We've had a great tradition of success of recruiting Hawaiian players, players from the island, excuse me, and we're going to continue to build off that. Hawaii is a hotbed when it comes to volleyball, and we're excited to continue to get more Hawaiian players in the gym. So hopefully the foundation, we're just going to build off that.
So as a player, you were a standout at St. Mary's. You helped the Gales win a conference title, reach the second round of the NCAA tournament, and now you're coaching in that same league. Do you feel that that gives you some kind of an inside knowledge or kind of an edge, being both a player and now a coach in the WCC, which some consider one of the best volleyball conferences in the country?
Yes, I might be a little biased on the conference. It's amazing. It's you talk about a top level conference in the country when it comes to volleyball, and it's it's right up there competing against the Power Fives. I think it has served me well being a former player in this conference, understanding the level, understanding the type of competition we're going to face across the net and how to prepare for that, how to recruit for that, how to scout for that. And so I definitely pull on my experiences as a former member of the WCC, as a former Gale, and I'm excited to bring that knowledge to Portland. Again, the foundation has already been laid for me from previous coaches that have come and really built this program up, and so I'm excited to just build off of that. The WCC is a very high level conference. Every single match you got to show up. Every single match, it's anyone's game. We're lucky enough to compete against nationally ranked teams like BYU and San Diego, but any game, it's anyone's game. If you show up with a great scouting report, any team in our conference can take it. So traditionally, we've sent 5 to 6 teams to postseason. That's something we're definitely striving for as with the pilots. So, yeah.
All righty, and we finish with the final question from online. What are the team's favorite non-volleyball activities, and what does the team like to do on the road back when road trips were actually still a thing?
I know, when road trips were a thing, gosh. That's right. It's hard to think back. Last year we would have been, I believe, starting conference this week. We would have been traveling 4 weeks already. So it's weird to think that. But what does my team like to do away from the volleyball court? Gosh. I'm super blessed.
Group.
Yeah, these girls, I'm really blessed to have such outstanding young women. They have interest away from the volleyball court, which I'm always learning about every day. I check in with my players regularly, and I want to learn about what they're learning in their classes, what adventures they've gone on. And so specifically, I think my team they're pretty big on outdoors. They like to go on hikes. They are very eco-friendly, environmentally savvy. They teach me a lot of things of how I can be a better, or how I can better influence the environment. So I appreciate that. My team is also really big on The Bachelor and Bachelorette. They like to have get-togethers, group get-togethers to watch that. I know they're big fans of that show. Gosh. I think any time that they can spend together with one another, our team is really bonded off the court. And so whether it's a hike, whether it's getting together to watch their favorite TV show, whether it's going to Salt and Straw to grab some of the new flavors of the month, I think they just really enjoy each other's company. So we keep it interesting. We definitely have interests outside of volleyball, which I appreciate. They're more than just an athlete. They're well-rounded people, and I learn from them every day, and I'm grateful to be around them. So, yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to Sunday watching them perform on the court and on the beach. Megan Burton, the head volleyball coach at the University of Portland, thank you so much for joining the Portside Pod.
No problem. Thank you guys for having me. Everyone stay safe out there and hope to see you soon. All right. Thanks, guys.